Hello and welcome to another edition of the Door 14 Hockey Podcast. I'm your host Marty alongside Dave
Hello.
and John.
Hey.
Hello. Boys, welcome to another episode. We should have been literally like 2 days away from the start of the Elite Ice Hockey League Challenge Cup games. We will talk about that in period one. We have now been pushed back by a week, so we're now a week out from the first Elite League action. We have had CHL action. The Belfast Giants are in play with the CHL. CHL game day 3 started today. Most of those games are now completed and finished. So, John, unfortunately, you won't have the chance to use your goal horn unless there's anything in the last maybe like 5 minutes maybe of the games, because I think they're in the final period. All done. So for me, who had a bit of a panic earlier on thinking, now I'm kind of a bit relieved because I now know that that's not going to happen throughout this episode. So I'm joy.
Hey, I might just throw out a random goal horn. You don't know.
Dave, how you doing?
I'm good. Enjoyed back to my first live game at the weekend past. It was great fun.
Yeah, we had both me and Dave were down at the CHL games in Belfast at the SSC. I took in both nights. Although the Giants didn't necessarily win either of those games, obviously an overtime loss the first game, they did perform stellar on both nights, so something to be proud of, and I think it was a great night just to kind of get back in again to the arena and just to see everyone as well, which is always a really welcome nice thing after the summer break, which sometimes feels a bit too long. John, how are you doing?
I'm fine. As you mentioned, there's been a little bit of a delay to the start of hockey over here in Scotland, and especially here in Fife. I was really hoping to take in the preseason game on Thursday night. Not Thursday night, whatever night. Was it Thursday night last week? Maybe it was. But obviously we're going to talk about it, but it just didn't happen. So therefore, I have not seen any live hockey yet.
Yeah, it'll come. I know you're away this weekend, so I don't think you'll get to watch anything this weekend live either. I think, did you hear you say you're off to Newcastle direction?
Yeah, off to Darlington. It's basically our last hurrah trip with the little Sprague. Well, it's just a family of 3. We're in single digits now, away from child number 2 arriving. So start of October is arrival date. So yeah, last trip down to catch up with family, and then there goes my hockey season come the first couple of weeks of October.
Insane. That's crazy. It just came so quickly. Unbelievable. No Aaron tonight. Unfortunately, he can't make it, so he maybe will drop in to watch live later on in the episode, and maybe drop in
after he's finished screaming into his pillow. Apparently, yeah. I don't know what his evening looks like, but apparently he's going to be biting down hard on that pillow.
In context, he's had a hard day at work. Okay, and I think he just was like, "I need to go."
Sounds like he's having a hard night in bed too.
The boss has been riding him, has he?
Family show, guys. Family show. Oh wow. So yes, we are going to do our predictions for the upcoming season at the end of this episode. So we will ask Aaron to throw in his predictions as well, so we can include his, so he's not forgotten. So boys, we will look forward to that in the overtime segment at the very end of the show. For anybody who's new around here, our show takes the form of a hockey game, 3 periods, period 1, 2, and 3. Period 1 is local coverage of news from around the UK. Period 2 goes a bit further afield for any other hockey stories across the pond. And period 3 is our general knocky news, which just covers any other stories, mostly jerseys, let's be honest. And we'll talk about that in period 3. So boys, if it's okay with you, without any further ado, let's get stuck in to our period 1 of hockey. Okay, period 1.
Still genuinely love all the new graphics, mate.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I kind of forgot as well. Whenever the intro came on, I was like, "Oh yeah." So yeah, no, thank you. Yes, for anybody who didn't listen to our last episode or watch our last episode or watch it the first time, we have changed a wee bit, but still the same.
Where the hell were you?
Exactly. Let's get stuck in. I'm going to start off first off with a story that should have been in our last episode 2 weeks ago. It's just we just ran out of time completely, so we kind of had to bump it. But it is worth having a chat about it here on this show. The first one up is the let's talk about the EIHL's shiny new rule book for the 2025-2026 season, because apparently hockey needs a bit more admin. There is some some key changes. The quick fire of that are goalie penalties. If your netminder takes a penalty, instead of just staring blankly from the crease, it's one of his teammates who now has to it's one of his teammates who was on the ice that now has to serve the penalty. So no longer can you take a player who was sitting on the bench and put him in as a replacement for the penalty that was taken by the goalie. So suddenly basically told, yeah, you're going in. So that's the way it works. Lines. Let's see, what else have we got? What's the next one up? The next one we have is the lines person. The lines person shall give the referees their interpretation of any incident that may have taken place during the game. The lines person may stop play and report what has witnessed to the refs when a goalkeeper plays the puck outside the designated area behind the net, that type of thing. So that's one. That's Rule 32, as they were calling it. Rule 74, too many players on the ice. If a team removes the goalkeeper for an extra attacker during overtime, it is now allowed for the goalkeeper to change back during play. Beforehand, it wasn't allowed. It had to be with for stoppage of play before the goaltender could go back in. Now they're saying the goalkeeper can skate back in as quickly as he can on those pads. And Rule 75, which is unsportsmanlike conduct, is a minor penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct shall be assessed under the rule for the following infraction. And the infraction is as follows: any player who sits on the board with their skates exposed to the rink during play, the referee will provide the offending team, coach, and player with one warning regarding the player sitting on the boards, and will advise the other team. After one warning in a game, the team participating in the warning will be issued a minor penalty for any future violations. So if another player, say 5-10 minutes later, does the exact same thing and it's caught again, the team then will take a penalty for a second player who has stuck his skates over the boards and exposed them onto the rink. Boys, that kind of catches us up on kind of the rules that they've kind of added in. Dave, I suppose, from a coaching point of view and from the goalies returning an OT, I mean, is it crafty? Is it like what's your take on that one?
It's always a very tricky play. The logistics of just getting the extra man out is difficult. I don't think I've seen an opportunity where you would have been able to bring your netminder back on during an extra man. It's not saying it's not impossible. If you've got really good zone play, you might want to. But are you really going to, if they're coming on the return with the puck, you're not really going to have time to get your netminder out. You're probably going to play the stoppage like you used to. But some coaches may find logistics on it that they might be able to use. Things around penalties. I'm sort of thinking if you've an ongoing penalty and you pull your netminder when you've got a 2-man advantage, you might be able to play it when, like, say, for the penalty coming to close. You might be able to do it then. But it's going to be tricky. There's a lot of logistics in there, but we'll watch and see. The one I really like is the lines person. Being able to call play dead. I know that we've all been at games where you're going, the linesman definitely seen something there, and they're having to sort of pull the game back after the break and play, especially in really big high tempo games.
Sorry, just remind me, can the lino actually whistle play dead on that,
they can now, but
or is it sorry that they can just give their interpretation after the ref blows the whistle?
Well, that's how it works now, is after the whistle.
But is the linesman actually allowed to give their interpretation on something like that? But can the referee actually action on it without this rule being in place? Sorry, Mary, I missed what you said about the linesman, Marty.
So the difference is that the previous to this, they could give the interpretation to the referee. The referee could decide what to do, but the linesman couldn't stop play. So, for example, if a linesman seen an infraction, currently, they couldn't stop the play So if the referee didn't see it, the play would continue, and you would be in a really bad situation. Where now they can call the play dead.
I think the tweak on it, though, I think the tweak in this specific rule part is that the lino, it's specifically in relation to the goalies and how the goalies handle the puck outside the trapezoid. So I think, if I'm right
I
in
thought that
reading
was
it correctly,
only an example.
no, I think that is the part of the rule that they're talking about. Maybe it is just an example. It's really confusing. My understanding
No.
was
So it's only in particular
to the
to
goalie.
the
Yeah, okay.
goalkeeper playing
well,
outside
Yeah.
of the trapezoid.
So they can now
Yeah.
signal if that. So beforehand, I don't think they could
Yeah.
signal to say needs to stop or whatever it is. Now I think at the point is the linesman can now signal the refs to identify anywhere where the goalie has handled the puck outside the trapezoid.
It's not as
So
important as I
basically they're
thought it was,
official.
then.
Basically there's the
Yeah.
official telltales, tattletales.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, is that the linos will give their interpretation of any incident that's taken place during the game. So I think before there were probably certain things that they could and couldn't get involved in. Whereas now they can go and give their interpretation if they saw it to the referee or whichever referee, because obviously we've got a 4-man system. But the one where they get to blow play dead is with reference to the netminders behind the net.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nowhere near as interesting and as valuable as I thought it was going to be.
John, before we move on from the story, obviously player safety has to be taken seriously across the whole of the league. Obviously, since incidents that have happened in the past, given player skates and stuff. This change where the bench safety rule in terms of no sitting on the boards with skates dangling over the ice. How important is this change in terms of a player safety point of view?
It isn't like, I know they're maybe looking at it on a player safety side, but I think it's just more an interference with the game. I know having a skate exposed at sort of above hip height, if the guys are sitting on the boards, like it's going to be up like somewhere between the waist and the chest. It's probably one of the most heavily protected areas on a skater, but yes, there's arms and whatever else involved here as well. But I think it's more specifically about the getting involved in the play. We know that when the puck hits a stick, it's the play has to be blown dead because it's not being affected by someone who's on the ice or come off the boards or the plexi or something. It's been acted upon by someone who shouldn't be involved in the play. So I think that's in specific where they're looking at it. And the fact that they're looking at, it's interesting that they're doing it as an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty and not a delay of game penalty though. That's an interesting interpretation for me on this rule.
Well, that's kind of why I kind of thought it was more the fact that they were doing it as an unsportsmanlike conduct. That's why I kind of felt it was more geared towards player safety than it was towards a infraction of delay of game or whatever. That's why I kind of maybe had a feeling.
If it was going to be a player safety thing, I think what they would say is that the referees and the linos were no longer allowed to use the boards either. They just let the puck hit them and then they try and get out of the way. I think that's the difference here. I don't think a referee's going to go give a lino a slap around the back of the head and say, "Don't you dare do that again! Don't you dare have your skates up off the ice." I think that's the issue on this one for me. Is it's specific to the teams. They're also probably looking at the guys getting a head start and a line change as well. Rather than having to jump the boards, they're already sitting effectively ready to go. They get that slingshot straight off the boards. They potentially get across. If that's a defenseman, that could be a game-defining stick in the lane. So you don't want that unfair advantage. It's not supposed to come off the bench until the guy gets to the bench to switch out with them. What we tend to see recently is guys are somewhere around halfway on the ice and they're trying to come off the boards. And saying that, well, it was ahead or behind the play, therefore the person coming off didn't have any sort of influence on the play. The guy coming on certainly did, or could do. So maybe that's where the unsportsman's coming from, rather than the delayed game side of things. But to be honest, I don't think I had any particular issue with it before, other than that sort of gaining a head start type thing. So if it stops that, I'm all for it.
Grand. Let's stick with the changes to the Elite League this coming year. Obviously, we've looked at the additional EIHF rules that are coming in the Elite League are adopting. Let's have a quick look at the other story that the Elite League put out this past week as well, and that is the update to roster regulations for the upcoming season. The Elite League have dropped an update on the roster regulations for this coming season, which could make a bit of a difference for teams when they're building their lineups. The biggest headline from it is all about the youth side of things. Any player under the age of 20 as of August 1st, 2025 will not count against the 25-man roster limit, which basically means if you've got promising 16, 17, 18-year-old waiting in the wings, you can load them up into your squad without eating up any of your numbers of the players that you have. So that means unlimited junior talent, no cap on games for them, and on paper, that's just a huge, massive incentive to finally increase, young Brits and give them more ice time, squeeze them into your roster where you can, especially probably those Challenge Cup games, which I know one person possibly, if he's watching, would be very happy to see that that's kind of happening, and that young Brits might get a bit more time in that way. The second big change is in relation to the injury reserve rules. They have been relaxed in some way. So what they have done is for skaters, the minimum injury reserve drop goes from 90 days down to 42, and for goalies it'll go down to 14 days, which is a massive shift. It does give the clubs a bit of a flexibility when someone's a bit banged up, and it means they're not burning that roster spot for months on end. They can make a few adjustments and keep the team rolling a bit more. And then there is a bit of a tweak to the two-way players as well. Last year the age cutoff was under 25 as of September 1st. This season it's under 25 as of August 1st. So it sounds small, but in lineups that with just for some lineups it can be a bit better, especially when it comes into things like just a bit of a bigger scope in terms of just a bit of a pool that allows for more. So basically, in short, pretty much it's more opportunities for young players and a bit more regular room with injury reserves. John, anything there in relation to, well, obviously the updated rosters are, the ability to bring in those young players, not adding towards your overall lineup. That's pretty big, especially when you given the fact that times, especially during the season, we do hit snags where injuries start to build up, or when we just need more bodies and we kind of need to bring in more players. That's massive for that.
It is. The biggest thing for me is, and I think I said this on the TikTok video that I did of this, is this a swing towards development in the Elite League? Is it that opportunity to bring in these young guys to give them ice time, but not to put that at the detriment of the team with the current sort of roster regulations, the maximum number of players that you can sign through the year? So that's a big impact there. And I think the fact that they've brought that down from September to August just reflects the fact that we've got an earlier start now to the season. I think that's just a simple change, that we've got pre-season that now happens. Now, the rosters aren't locked until we get to the first weekend of the real season. Now, how that works at the minute, I'm not entirely sure. This is a question that's been in my head because of the change to the first weekend of the Challenge Cup, which should have been a Scottish affair. Technically, that would have been game week 1 in the Elite League, as soon as those teams hit the ice. So does that mean that the roster setting period has now gone back a week? Because we're seeing quite a number of last minute signings across the league. You've got Belfast bringing in Davy Phillips. You've got, I know, Marty, I don't know if you're planning on going into sort of changes and chops and changes, but the likes of Kel Beattie having left Cardiff after only having played their pre-season games. There's a lot of interesting moves around the place, and I see, not that this affects a signing one, but we've got a comment on YouTube confirming that Cole Sanford is returning to the Cardiff Devils lineup after missing 3 weeks of pre-season after having had surgery. So to me, that's the interesting part, is that the juniors are going to be used without detriment to the teams, so it gives that option for development, and also just the changes to the sign. I just wonder how that's going to be impacted.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And Dave, obviously we're talking that comment that came through there, obviously about from Cardiff returning after recovering from surgery. Obviously, we talked about the injury reserve, that changing, reducing from 90 days to 42 days, and obviously goaltenders going down even further. We'll see that'll play a big part. I suppose it'll play a massive favor, especially coming in that midpoint of the season when, as I said, injuries do build up.
Yeah, we're in a the best good example of that is the Giants are 4 men down already, only after the first few games. And some of them seem to be fairly longer with Kyle what's his name, re-signing today for the Giants. So and he's back after last season.
Dre?
So
Yeah, but
Dre, yeah, something like
yeah.
that. So he's re-signed for the season. So we're looking at because we're looking at Roach being out probably the majority, I think, of the season. And now, to be fair, there's some people that have started to skate again, seeing that Brandon Whistle apparently has returned to training, which should be good. Hopefully, we'll start seeing him soon. And then I think there's 2 others that are still out. I can't remember the names off the top of my head. But the having that reduced injury reserve will allow you to place those players off and give them the opportunity to get better rather than sort of having them hang around your roster and hoping to get them play week by week. You can put them on the injury reserve, let them get fit, and then get them back without having them out for the full 90. So it'll be interesting.
Correct
Just
me
on
if I'm
the
wrong,
previous,
but Davy Phillips,
temporary.
he's temporary, but has he travelled for the CHL?
Yeah.
Well, he was over. He was in Belfast, like, so I assume he has. Yeah.
I just wondered whether he was going to have to go back to the National League as they kick off this weekend. But
I'm also expecting Carter Hummel and Cal Beatty to travel. They played a blinder, which we'll talk about in period 2.
Oh my God! Yeah, they played amazingly.
Yeah. On the linesman post, I went and read the rubric. You will like to know. So the linesman
it does exist.
Yes, it does. Yeah, the linesman may stop the play and report what's been witnessed for too many men on the ice, unsportsmanlike conduct, abuse of official, sticks, interference, delay of
yes,
game.
there were sticks.
Yes,
sticks were on the ice.
High sticks.
That man would not like Ed Courtney.
High sticks, and then the goalie trapezoid jobby. So there is a few there that he can call the play dead.
Here,
which I think
anyone does a jobby in the trapezoid, the referee should be blowing that dead, not the linesman.
The one I think is a good one is the interference, because that gets missed all the time by referees behind the play,
which is incredible in a 4-man system.
Yes, I know. But yeah, there you go.
Again, people shouldn't be interfering with anyone. That's just all, we're just putting it out there. It's, we always remember that. Let's move on to our next story. And obviously, because we've already talked about it, we may as well chat about it now. And John, you led in with this. Obviously, there has been a delay to the start of the 2025-2026 Elite League season. The season was due to start this coming weekend, Challenge Cup action between the Fife Flyers and the Dundee Stars. But basically, kind of put a context of why it's been shifted slightly. The Challenge Cup has been delayed because let's go to how it kind of came about. The Flyers were set to host CSM Corona Brasov in a couple of preseason games on the 28th and the 30th of August. Bit of travel chaos struck, which meant that the visiting team attempted to fly from Bucharest, boarded a flight only to be told it was cancelled after 90 minutes midair. No, 90 minutes on the tarmac, on the ground, yes. Then it was pretty much boarded. They went for a journey via Istanbul, isn't that what it was? So they were going via Istanbul. It got, delayed, and then it got aborted completely, and just simply they couldn't travel. It couldn't happen, couldn't work it out. The squad then got stuck in airports, and they basically tried everything they could, but just the logistics just wouldn't work, and it collapsed. So basically, Fife were left with no preseason. It was put out there. Fife and Dundee then in cahoots decided to flip the Challenge Cup games this coming weekend into pre-season games instead. So instead of competitive cup action this coming weekend, we're going to have scrappy warm-up kind of pre-season, hopefully scrappy, on the 6th and 7th of September. So it's a bit of a pivot.
If you're the Flyers and you win both those games, you'll be bloody raging.
Wouldn't you? Those fixtures are now rescheduled for the 16th of September in Dundee, and then the home leg for Fife will be in the 22nd of October in Kirkcaldy. So that does mean that bit of a prep time, a bit of a tweak to the momentum, and the season officially will start a bit later.
But But it's not
obviously,
as simple as that. It's not as simple as that, because what they've done is they've taken weekend Challenge Cup games and turned them into midweek games.
okay,
So the other part of this is that Dundee have not changed their ticketing policy for the preseason games. These are going to be in Dundee, full price games, full whack for preseason, and then they're going to ask people to pay that again for midweek games. My worry for those is that those are really poorly attended midweek Challenge Cup games, and for
yeah,
both these teams, the Challenge Cup matters.
Yes.
yeah. No, I
Seems a
agree.
bit of a strange, and I totally understand the Fife, the way Fife set up their team. There's a lot of change. They need the preseason, and I totally understand that. But it's going to be a big ask for their fans to then do a midweek game after a late start and all that jazz. I would say you might find Fife maybe gets more into it depending on how the first part of the season goes. But based on how they've been signing, you would expect the energy to be good, and then maybe those midweek ones mightn't just be just as bad. I don't expect the same thing in Dundee though.
No,
Maybe.
no. I was
I
going to
don't know.
ask.
Dundee. I'm not sure, because I've said in a couple of, I think I said it last podcast, I don't know what Dundee are supposed to be as far as the recruitment. I don't know what kind of team they're trying to be. So it'll be interesting to see sort of what, if anything, comes of this. I think Fife, we know exactly what sort of team they're trying to be. They're trying to be an incredibly physical, hard team to play. You might beat them by 3 goals, but you're probably going to have 2 guys away in an ambulance to do it. The Stars, I'm just not sure. The top end teams, they are all skill. They are score 2 more goals than their opposition. The bottom teams, what I'm calling the bottom teams right now, they just seem to have not improved. So I'm putting Dundee and Manchester are squarely in this frame. I don't think that they've massively improved, or at least I don't think they've improved as well as the rest of the league. Guildford, I think, are an unknown quantity, because I just don't know enough about the guys that they've signed. I don't know sort of where that's going, with the exception of a couple of the guys that were previously in Belfast, like Travis Brown, who got announced as part of their leadership crew for this year. I just don't really know what sort of hockey they're going to play, but I'd probably put them at the higher end. They're always a decent team.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of hijacked that, Murray.
It's okay. And you both answered the questions I had. My questions were going to be just kind of around that kind of, obviously the switch over to being from a Challenge Cup to a warm-up game, like, how serious is that going to be taken? And the second question I was going to ask, and I think we kind of talked about that, is obviously, and I think the Fife Flyers came out and they said, look, for any player, any fan who wants a refund on blah, 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 please give us time to process all of that. But, if you are a fan, you were expecting two games at home with that, and then all of a sudden your game turns in, or you've got tickets for this coming Saturday, and originally you thought, it's a Challenge Cup game. Let me rephrase that. This coming weekend is supposed to be a Challenge Cup games. People bought tickets for this coming weekend, expected as a Challenge Cup game. To then be told, actually, it's no longer a Challenge Cup game. You've paid full price. Were tickets offered for refunds, or is it just a straight up, well, this is what you're getting now for the price that you've paid? And would you be a bit peeved to find out, actually, I paid for an actual, like, proper competitive game, and now I'm getting damn squib? I think that's the question I was going to ask, and I think we kind of touched upon it, did we? I don't know if we did. John, Dave, your thoughts?
It's a good question. I don't really know.
Same.
I was actually just interestingly, I was having a look at the ticketing for the game this weekend.
Something tells me I haven't. I think the reason why I put that question is because something tells me I didn't read a post anywhere where, whenever they announced that things were getting changed, that they announced anything to do with your tickets would be honored, or your tickets will be refunded, or your tickets you'll be offered. I think they just straight up went, well, kind of, this is what you're getting now for the ticket price that you paid. And I kind of feel
I think the Challenge Cup game, the tickets that were bought for the Challenge Cup game, or if there's any I don't know if there's inclusion within their season ticket for that. I'm assuming that they would automatically transfer to that game,
Challenge Cup game. So then, you have to pay an extra ticket.
This might be an extra ticket, but obviously the preseason tickets that people had bought for the Corona Borasov game, now admittedly that was supposed to be 2 games,
Yeah.
And they're only getting one home preseason game now. Obviously, Dundee are not going to take a Five Flyers ticket. So I'm assuming that everyone will end up being refunded at least one ticket.
For Fife.
For Fife who bought them. Dundee, I've already explained. They're saying, nah, it's full whack. It's 20 odd quid to come and watch a preseason game against the Fife Flyers, the team that are 20 miles across the road. And like Flyers updates are in here on YouTube saying preseason games are new fixtures. So yes, they are essentially new fixtures. So therefore, you need, and as they say, you need a new ticket for it.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going. So you need a new ticket for it.
Yep.
Mid sentence.
Oh well. John has cut off. He will come back on again. It's that dodgy internet stuff. In Scotland
myself
up there.
You kicked yourself.
I kicked myself out. What I was going to say, sorry, I was trying to scroll across and didn't realize my cursor was over this browser for this, and I went back a step, so I kicked myself out. What I was going to say is the game in Fife is actually selling very well. Cool. There's some tickets in the sort of, I don't know,
to be honest,
VIP area or whatever, but
to be honest, like let's be 100% honest on it. If you're a Fife fan, and we've talked about this in the previous episode, if you're a Fife fan, even if it's pre-season game, you are excited. You're excited about this new era of Fife Flyers. I mean, we're excited about the new era of the Fife Flyers, and we're not exclusively, we're not Fife Flyers fans. You know what I mean? We're Belfast Giants fans, but we're excited about the Fife's new era. So you can only imagine how excited fans are to pack that rink for these coming games, no matter what the game might be. So fair play. It was just a question out of your, just kind of devil's advocate to see what you kind of thought. Let's while we're talking about Challenge Cup, let's just quickly talk about the slight tweak that was also announced by the Elite League this past week in relation to the Challenge Cup format. There's a small tweak coming to the Challenge Cup.
Death by 1,000 cuts. The Challenge Cup is death by 1,000 cuts. Honestly.
I know. In 2025-2026 semi-final seeding will be based on win percentage from the group stage rather than the top seed choosing their own opponent. So here's how it will work. 2 group winners will be seeded first and second based on the group stage win percentages. The remaining 2 qualifiers will be seeded third and fourth, also by win percentage. The semi-final matches then will be based on first seed group winner versus fourth seed, and the second seed group winner versus third seed. The higher seed gets the choice of playing the second leg at home. Only group stage results count towards win percentage. The result of the elimination game will not be factored into the seeding calculations. Now, my thing with this is first plays fourth and second plays third. Beforehand, it used to be first seed got to choose the opponent they wanted to play for the thing. Majority of the time, that did tend to be first played fourth, because they did pick fourth, unless you were Sheffield and Nottingham. And even if Sheffield was first and Nottingham became second or whatever it is, they would want to play anyway because they want that rivalry draw. No, but
Sheffield and Nottingham couldn't come first and second.
Okay, let me rephrase that. If they first, they would play and Nottingham came third, they would want to play third because they would want to play Nottingham rivalry. Blah 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 blah. That's the only thing.
Do you know what though? Under this system, technically, I believe Nottingham and Sheffield could come first and second seeds because it's based on win percentage, not on the seeding being the 2 group stage winners having their percentages split to give you seed 1 and seed 2.
It's group.
No.
It's the 2 group winners. No, it's 2 group winners. It's the group winner. First seed is group winner from group. First seed is the group winner, and second seed is group winner.
Who the hell cares? The Challenge Cup is an absolute disaster. Right, here we go. Here's the 2025-26 diatribe on the Challenge Cup. Yeah. It's a completely nonsense competition. Go and watch my TikTok video on it, because it's insane. The comments are in there as well and confirm exactly this, that the majority of fans do not think that the Challenge Cup competition as it stands works. It's a broken format. Why on earth does it take us through until December to finally know who our 4 teams are that are going to go through? The elimination game isn't scheduled until the middle couple of weeks in December. That's a nonsense. We then have nothing. The semi-finals aren't until February. Why are they not in January? What's wrong with January? Then we don't get a final until either the first or second week, generally the second week in March. By the time we get there, There's 3.5 weeks left of the Elite League. Maybe 4 weeks, roughly speaking. Why does it take us the entire season to get 50 games of group stage, and that's 50 games across 10 different teams, 50-something games across all the 10 teams is what ends up getting played when you boil it down to how many games each team plays. So I know that when I went through the video, it's like each team in the group stage plays 12 games or whatever, but you boil that down to what that actually means in actual games. It's like just over 50 games. Why on earth does that take until December for us to figure out who the Final Four is? It's an absolute nonsense. I still stand by everything I've said over the last few seasons. This trophy, if they want to keep it as an important part of the competition across the entire season, this trophy has to be awarded before Christmas. It has to be awarded before Christmas. It needs to be a Christmas present for a team to take to their fans going into the festive season.
I agree.
The fact that we have 3 trophies, we have 3 competitions in this league. The 3 trophies are all given out inside of a month. Why?
Yeah. Look, listen, you're preaching to, the converted. Like, people, I think most of us will agree. And as you said, even the people who the comments on the social media posts that were put out, all saying the same thing, and that's from fans right across different teams right across the league who are all saying the same thing. Challenge Cup is a redundant competition. It just kind of needs refreshed, reformatted, rechange. Everything just about it needs done. I have a video coming out. I have a video coming out this coming Monday on our TikTok, on our YouTube channel. It's a list and the list video, and it focuses on the Challenge Cup. And in there, I've talked about a few things about the problems with the format, problems with the actual trophy itself, and a few other bits and pieces. So check out that on Monday when it comes out, and let us know your comments underneath as well for that. Guys, I have one more story. Do we have time for it, do you think, in this period, or should we move on to period 2?
Yeah, man.
Bring it on.
Okay, let's do it. We have one story which is non-Elite League. This is a story that's kind of came tonight. This is an announcement that was put out tonight. This is down in the EIHL, and this is the story from the Bees, who put out a statement today. Let me just bring up the statement. Let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second. Did I put it in here? I did. There's it there. The Bees, for anybody who don't know, they are put out an announcement tonight from the club that basically, just trying to get it up. Berkshire Bees, following their statement they put out, following announcement of the formation of the Bees, a new future working group at the beginning of August, the club would like to provide the following update to fans, followers, and other potential interested parties. The working group has been hard at work around the day jobs and produced a well-detailed proposal on what is required for a new future for the Bees. This proposal includes a number of work streams, including location, facility, hockey and skating club, school and disability programs, community and economy benefits, and the costs and what am I trying to say here? This proposal has already been formally presented to several potential interested parties with good feedback. Over the coming weeks, we hope to present to other potential partners. We'll provide further updates in due course. I suppose we should put some context behind this, so the background and the bigger picture to this. This announcement does follow a turbulent few months for the Bees. In May, the club confirmed that they were exploring all options, including the possibility of mothballing the team for the 2025-2026 season due to financial and operational uncertainty. At the time, 4 key players, including long-serving captain Stuart Mogg, departed the organisation, adding more uncertainty to the team. Essentially, the club was teetering on the brink, weighing heavily whether they could operationally continue without serious backing. So the September update shows that they are pivoting towards from limbo to a bit of action, and hopefully they will have something moving forward so that the Bees can survive as a team and keep hockey there in where it needs to be. Boys, just a quick update. I know Anthony from Banners on the Wall will definitely 1,000,000% be covering this if he hasn't already put out a little video on this. I'm sure he'll be doing this on, I think he's got an overview of the whole of British hockey this coming Monday, I believe. Anthony, you can keep me right, you can plug it there and we can add it on. I think this coming Monday, him and a few others are doing a full rundown summary of the upcoming season for the whole of British hockey. So I'm sure he will cover this story in a lot more detail. Anybody, anything on that, Dave, John?
So obviously it follows the announcement back in May, so the Bees won't be icing in 2025-26. They'd already said that. So just again, it just
Yeah,
puts
yeah.
it in that context that the Berkshire Bees won't be playing this season, but they're looking at a sort of fan-based initiatives to bring people on board, to see about maintaining that franchise and making sure that they can come back for 26-27. So we've seen too many teams disappear over the last few years. It's nice to see a couple coming back. Obviously, we've got Basingstoke coming back for this season with their brutal AI new logo, which is it's like every team needs some kind of rebrand refresh. It's a new start, so yeah, it's fine, but we don't want to see teams disappear. So if we can have the Berkshire Bees back for next season, have a more strengthened core to hockey in this country, because let's be totally honest, the NIHL, the SHL, they are absolutely at the core of hockey in the country. If we don't have a strong NIHL at multiple levels, if we don't have a strong SHL, we don't have the feeders to provide what we need for the Elite League. The Elite League sits teetering at the top. It's like a turned round triangle. It's like this. And if things get imbalanced, then the whole thing can fall apart very quickly. We're not a traditional hockey country. We don't have that traditional feeder system, and without what is put in a lot of the times by investors who are losing money hand over fist to keep these teams going, then we could very easily see the whole sport collapse out from under us, and we'd have to be an NHL podcast, which is awful because the amount of competition is just brutal.
Lose all that sleep. The being a Giants fan, obviously the bees are sort of baked into all of every Giants fan's DNA, because of the formation of the club. The vast majority of the first Giants team were previous Bracknell Bees players, so I would hate to see them go completely. They hold a soft spot for every Giants fan in Northern Ireland. So I would say I would speak for all of them and hope that we can, if there's anything we can do to help, I'm sure we can. We'll try.
Yep. That's it. Just wanted to quickly bring that one in just because the story was out there and I seen it, was reading it, and kind of I know we had touched upon it and talked about it in one of our last podcasts, I think, before the season ended. I remember us talking about the bees, so I just thought we'd bring that back as a wee bit of an update, which is something we sometimes do, sometimes we forget to do.
Does anybody else have Nicolas Cage in their head going, "Not the bees, not the bees"?
That is completely lost to me. I can actually 100% say I have no clue what you're talking about right now.
The Wicker Man.
No, never seen it.
That's almost as geeky a reference as earlier, because Marty, when you were talking about the IHF rules, you kept saying the number of the rule beforehand, and Dave, I don't know about you, all I heard was Ferengi rules of acquisition.
With that, let's move on to period 2 of hockey.
Brilliant. So welcome to period 2 of hockey. This is where we'll cover everything from outside the UK, kind of. Today is an exception to that rule, with which I'll start off. John, I'll steal your topic and get us moving. The Giants, weeks past, seen the Giants in action again in the CHL against, what was the first team? Can't remember. And then Tapare, which was a phenomenal game, one I got to see live. You can't beat a bit of CHL in my opinion. I know the scoreline wasn't flattering in the end. 7-4.
Yep.
This doesn't do in my opinion, doesn't do the game justice. Up until the final 10 minutes, the Giants were really pushing, trying to give the Tapare a bloody nose. And a couple of times they did. They pulled it into the lead. It's phenomenal. But what I want to talk about here isn't just the Giants' performance. It's the Giants' junior performance from the younger and two-way players. So we had Cal Beatty, Mitchell King, Carter Hamill. Anybody else?
No.
Was it just?
Yeah, just the three of them. Yeah.
All three of those guys were massive in that game. Carter Hamill had at least 2 or 3 quality shots on goal, and was unlucky not to score one of them. Cal Beattie took no proverbial. Somebody went hard on Whistle, and he was in his face,
Oh, 100%.
getting him off, and it was phenomenal. Mitchell King was um, Mitchell King was solid. Some really nice passing, and some really lovely block shots. As far as a match goes, from the players' standpoint, those guys stood out, which was phenomenal.
Shouldn't
Sorry.
be getting anyone off on the ice. That's unsportsmanlike conduct.
John.
EIHL wouldn't stand for that.
There was,
I shouldn't look at your face.
and we didn't need to worry about the jobby and the trapezoid either.
Unfortunately, an unfortunate secondary impact. Sorry.
Just coming back, just one thing before I jump onto that point you were making, Dave, about the young players for Belfast. The first game on Friday was against, Thursday was Kappa Copio.
Kalpa Kupio.
Kappa Kupio. Yeah, thank you. That was game day 1 on the 28th, and the Giants lost that in overtime 3-2, which we'll maybe come back to in a minute, but we'll go back to your point first, Dave. Yeah, the young Brits, the young two-way players, and the were just phenomenal. I mean, you as you said it, like they were proper full, for a CHL game, they were getting full ice time. They were getting their fair share of minutes, which is something we don't usually see at this competitive level. We would usually see kind of maybe them use ad hoc, but there was for a few minutes being, I mean, definitely impressive. I would say something you made comment about on the night, and again, I think it's something that's relevant and possibility of maybe how we've seen so many minutes, is the more minutes they were on, the more minutes it was giving our first line a bit of a breather, and it meant that our first line could come on and have all guns firing, and they were, while the scoreline doesn't maybe represent the game itself, they were on fire that night as well. The first line, really putting in shifts. But no, overall, I thought very, very good performance from all 3 young players.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to see, especially those Belfast born and trained players. It is something we don't get to see enough of, and I'm hoping they travelled for this weekend. I would, based on how they played, I would expect them to. They got shifts really early on in the first period when the Giants were down 1-0, and that you wouldn't have seen that a few years ago, and that just gives me hope that the Giants are taking these guys and these players really seriously.
Kel gave an interview to the Belfast Telegraph, and that was posted tonight, and at least Kel and Carter Hamill have travelled to Switzerland with the team.
Okay, that's good.
This weekend, so the likelihood is that they probably will get some ice time.
Based on how they performed, I should do.
I mean, Carter, he was fully in there. I mean, there was a number of opportunities. There was one opportunity which was just shy of converting, and every aspect, every little bit of me, every fiber in my body was screaming for that goal to go in, and for him to get a goal, because he genuinely, I know at this level, you've got these young players, you've got Mitchell King, you've got Hamill, you've got Beattie, who are trying to show their worth and what, trying to maybe secure, a bit similar to what's happened this year for Max Stewart. You're wanting that full-time pro contract, and okay, they're playing in the NHL and they're 2 ways, and they can say that but you kind of want that full-time elite league contract, and that's what they're aiming towards. And these games are vital. These games are key games to kind of help develop that. And again, another plug, if you haven't watched it yet, the Champions Hockey League list that I put up this week on our YouTube channel, it talks about that kind of that proven ground of how young talented players kind of find their foot in the CHL and kind of do get that opportunity to be seen on a wider scale. And this is exactly the same for these young players too, put in those performances, and although you might not be getting those high points, these performances make a difference, and you will get
a difference. Absolutely massive difference. And I can't wait to see how they perform this weekend, and it's
Can I
as the
can I bring up? Sorry, just completely separately. I know that we're about to move on, but I just want to bring a couple of things up, especially the Kalpa Kupio game. Like that could have gone either way. We really took that game to them, and it came down to overtime, and we just lost out. Like it was a brilliant breakaway. It's what 3-on-3 is designed to do, and it ended up being a two on almost a 2-on-none. In fact, it was technically a 2-on-1, but it might as well have been a 2-on-none. And they got past Gravel. Still don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. Is it Gravel or Gravel? You guys have been in
Gravel.
the arena.
Gravel.
It is Gravel, right? Okay.
Yeah, literally, it's literally gravel.
They got it past Gravel. That feels weird. I feel like I should be saying Gravel. It feels like a Roy Wah situation. Sorry. But the Ilves Tapara game, that scoreline, Marty, you said it. I don't think that reflects the performance of the Belfast Giants at all. Giants were gassed by the time it got to the sort of, I don't want to say the entire third period, but you could tell that sort of last 10 minutes especially. I think just the weight of expectation, the fact that these are the first two real competitive games, and we came up against a brilliant team as well. But one thing I want to mention is David Goodwin's tying goal for 3-3 was an outstanding piece of whole line play.
Yep.
They came up the ice, they came up from the defensive zone, passed the puck incredibly well. I want to say it, if they do that in the Elite League, they're going to break some poor lads' ankles, because the way they passed the puck, the way that line passed that puck was absolutely outstanding. David Goodwin's finish, absolutely peach, but it was the setup play was outstanding. Bo Hansen's goal for 4-3 was wild. That snipe from the blue line was absolutely lasered. Like he saw that gap, he just fired that through. That was outstanding. That to me, those two plays individually, you've got one piece of individual play from Bo Hansen and that line play from that top line to get that tying goal. Now I know the scoreline ended 7-4, but take all that aside, take that into the Elite League. That Belfast Giants team looks like they could undress someone really, really badly at some point through the season. So as a Giants fan, I'm really enthused for what that team's gonna do. Now, the Giants have taken a lot of flack, especially from, let's say, Steelers fans in particular, jumping on and saying 2 games, 1 point. Steelers, I think, had played 2 games at this point, and they had 3 points at this point. I think they had a loss and a regulation win. Look, we always knew it was going to be tough. We knew that going up against 3 teams in Switzerland was going to be particularly difficult, but the opening 2 games against Ilves Tapra and Kalpa Kupio, they were not easy games either. Those were Liga teams, so let's just see how they go. They're still in with a shout. Every team is still in with a shout and making it to the knockout stage.
Yeah,
100%. And then the Tapare netminder as well, after the that laser from Bo Hansen, just stood and watched the camera, because he had not got a clue how he got it through. It just came out of nowhere. He didn't see it, and it was in the back of the net. That's
what it looked like on the webcast.
Yeah, you just seen him after the play. He just stopped and stared at the camera and the big screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I will move on to Marty, and I'll let it be dealer's choice. Which one you would like to kick off with?
Yeah, I'll come back to the
points
second.
there, so-
I've got 2 things. I just wanted to mention one more thing just about the CHL stuff just before we move on. Obviously this coming weekend, and there was a question put up here. Let me just throw up the story the question from Daniel, I think it was. He put up a question at the very early on stage of how do you think the Giants will do this weekend. This coming weekend is game day 3 and 4 for the Belfast Giants in CHL. Game day 3 is tomorrow, the 5th of September, when the Belfast Giants will take on Lausanne HC. And then on the 6th of September, the Belfast Giants will travel not too far across Switzerland and take on EIHL. And that's on September 7th. Boys, any predictions on those? What are we feeling? How do you feel the Giants are going to do this coming weekend?
Can I go first, perhaps?
Yeah,
Yes,
go for it.
I'm going to start with the Lausanne game because they're coming off the back of 2 heavy defeats. They were beaten 4-1, 5-2 in their first two games. I think that could be a good first start in that away trip for the Giants. There is a good possibility of a win there, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. The EV Zug game, I think, is potentially harder. I think it's the harder of the two games that they have over in Switzerland this weekend. They have come off the back of a 3-2 overtime win and a 5-1 massive defeat of Grenoble. So that's obviously going to be their arena as well. So that could be quite a tough game for them. But let's just say the Lausanne game, I think there's a possibility of a win there and 3 points, taking them up to 4, because let's not forget they got the single point for the overtime loss. That could be hugely important when it comes to potential moving forward in the competition.
Yeah, I can't agree more with John. I think it's a good way to put it. With those teams in Switzerland, depending on what they want, like if they come into that switched on wanting to win, they'll make that game for the Giants extremely difficult. Giants need to stay out of the box. Penalties are going to be so key. If they end up stuck in the box, especially with the CHL continuing running clock, it could kill us. So the Giants need to stay away from that box. If they can manage to do that, we're in with a shout.
Yeah, we've seen that this past weekend. The Giants obviously had that kind of played against the Giants. You know, obviously they took that penalty, goal was scored, and then they continued. It was just tough to watch. So yeah, you're exactly 100% right. Yeah. Okay, I'll move on to a story then, Dave. Perfect. Let's start off. Our period 2 normally traditionally is about the NHL. Obviously, the NHL has not kicked off just yet. We are probably about 2 weeks, I think, away from preseason type games. The first games of the season are the 20. I think that weekend, like the 27th, 28th, kind of around that time anyway. So we are heading towards the first action in the NHL. So just thought quickly, just before we get to that point, in our next episode in 2 weeks' time, we'll be talking a lot more probably about the NHL and things that are going on there. But I thought, just while we're kind of still in that preseason, off-season kind of stage for the NHL, it was worth kind of going through maybe some of the biggest headlines so far and some of the big moves that have been made in the NHL. Just kind of give a bit of brief update anyway. So the NHL has been busy in its own its own right. The biggest headline probably so far has been the collective bargaining agreement. The league and players have agreed a 4-year extension starting in 2026-2027. That means a couple of big shifts. The regular season expands from 82 to 84 games, so an extra 2 games. And preseason will be getting cut down to just 4 games in total. Longer contracts are now going to be capped at 7 years. The other thing that came out of the conversation for the collective bargaining agreement is around the e-bug. For anybody who doesn't know, the e-bug is the emergency backup goalie. There's been a number of fairy tale stories across the years for goalies who have been sitting in the crowd who were needed to jump in and play some ice time. That is going away and it's going to be replaced with mandatory traveling backups. So that is going to be an interesting way to see what's going to be happening there. So that's interesting for a collective bargaining agreement and for some changes that come along. In terms of the extensions and some money stuff that's going on, Minnesota have offered a huge extension. I think it was potentially $16 million, dollars to Kirill Kaprizov. He has got a contract extension there worth $16 million, which is just huge eye-watering numbers. Connor McDavid in Edmonton, his future is still kind of a bit of an interesting one there. Edmonton can't keep him. The figure has been bloated to around about 17 million for extras. And again, that's an interesting way if you're looking at the salary cap for those guys.
He's an athlete. He probably has a salary cap too.
Yeah, probably. And in New Jersey as well, Luke Hughes is negotiating a long-term deal, which shows young stars, because he's quite young, are trying to command for a bigger slice of money as well for their early careers. Some interesting trades and moves that have happened, just to kind of maybe mention a few of them. We can't mention them all, but the Vegas Golden Knights pulled off what I think is probably one of the blockbuster signings of the summer. And that's not just because I'm a Toronto fan, but they have landed Mitch Marner from the Toronto Maple Leafs in a sign and trade deal, which was worth $96 million in total. That's a massive statement from them. The Predators, John, to make sure you're not forgotten about, the Predators brought back Eric Halua. Halua? Is that how you pronounce his name? Adding a reliable. Yep. And I suppose if you that's an interesting one there for the Predators, bringing him back. And also, since we mentioned Toronto, and because I am a Toronto fan, and obviously with Marner Lagon, they've locked down John Chavez as a 4-year for 4 more years, and re-signed Nicholas Robertson to a 1-year extension. That's pretty much it. So the NHL structure, rule changes, mega money deals. That's kind of what is going on at the moment. Kind of a brief update, but and Aaron's not here, so I thought we'll just leave him out for now, Philadelphia out, because obviously there's no point mentioning them because Dave's not here.
Anybody who's interested, single day match tickets go on sale for the NHL on the 9th of September. So if you're looking to buy a ticket for any matches this year, that's when they go on sale. So
yeah,
not that I'm watching or anything.
Can we talk about the ebook stuff?
Yeah,
because that's, I don't know, I feel kind of heartbroken by that. I feel almost cheated as a hockey fan. Like, we've seen a few, like you said, Marty, a few fairy tale moments with the e-bug coming up, and oftentimes they come from the home e-bug having to play for the away team. I can't remember which one. There's one of them that stands out. I need to search it again. But just those moments are just really, really special and always stand out. I feel like as a fan, we're being cheated by NHL teams having to travel with a third netminder now.
It's not a job you would be.
I don't like it.
Like as a player, that would be sort of like the worst
that's
job.
The other thing. Why would they be traveling with someone who might be getting games in the AHL or ECHL? Yeah. Like those, I mean, to be great, if you're going to have a guy who's just traveling consistently, they're not going to be a starting AHL netminder. Like, let's be totally honest. But that's somebody who could be getting a game on the coast, and
unless you look at people, sort of recent retirees or something.
You just sitting there hoping that Marc-Andre Fleury is just going to travel as the e-bug.
I just want them to be in Minnesota's dressing room for every single match.
Can you imagine? It'd be absolutely wild.
Boom.
I mean, it's an interesting one that they have decided to go down this route. And as you say, like it does seem a bit like, having a third, just a goalie just sitting there just traveling, and it does seem a bit strange, to be honest. The other question I was going to ask is, before we moved on to our next story, was just around, obviously, like these mega deals that we're seeing again. I mean, we've seen this before, these mega deals that signings, contract extensions, which are extending such a long time. Obviously, they've said, now that this part of this new bargaining agreement is it's going to be kept for a certain number of years, but the bloated numbers that we're seeing in relation to the, like 16 millions, 19 millions. I mean, where do we get to a point where it's like, right, well, where like the reality of the rising cap, and in terms of where is it a dangerous precedent that's being set by having such high numbers like this? I mean, these are mega deals.
It's always a risk. We've seen it with just using the Wild as an example again, and we'll be talking about him shortly, I'm assuming as well. The deal with Zach Parise and Sutter many moons ago that broke the bank, actually caused the lockout between them signing and them retiring, because they were signed to basically a stupid contract that would have them playing into their retirement, which both players ended up, the Wild had to end up trading and swallowing a massive chunk of that contract just to allow them to to move on and to finish their career out. I do like the reduction in years on a contract. When it comes to the money, it's always crazy. No matter, whenever you see any of these sports deals, it's hard to get it in my opinion, into my head how a person playing a sport that they love gets paid so much. It's just as crazy. I'm not saying that I'm not going to take it off them or anything, but it's just the money is so vastly above anything I could imagine that it's hard to sort of quantify it. It's like when in work.
Isn't it insane? Isn't it insane that hockey's still the lowest paid
yes,
of these professional leagues in North America? So it's like you have even a sport like soccer, which has grown massively from nothing over the last decade or 2 decades in the States, now dwarfs the salary cap of the NHL. And I get why there is a salary cap. I get why teams can't just go off and spend. The idea is to keep parity across the 32 teams in the league. But it's just absolutely wild that we talk about these numbers, which seem absolutely insane to us, but then you go over and look at the NBA, the NFL, and those numbers are just multiplied by factors of 10 or more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Tonks, I'm boring you.
That's my dog again featuring on the episode, and she is also featured on the video as well. Plug.
So, nice segue.
We were just saying about that. The how many games did the NHL reduce or increase? 82.
From 82 to 84, so it's going to go up by 2 games.
So, a regular season NFL team plays.
It's like 12 games.
17.
Ooh.
17 games.
That's insane.
And their contracts are already orders of magnitude higher than a NHL.
And they're not allowed to take their helmets off and start punching each other.
Yes, and they only play half a game. Because they do that offense-defense thing.
Strange.
So, yeah, I know it's odd. So I'll fire back over to you, Marty, for your next one.
Yeah, let's stick with the NHL. And this is the story. We did talk about this last season whenever it was announced that the agreement came between the NHL Player Association, the NHL, and the Olympic EIHL. The big decision was that after a decade away, NHL players would be officially returning to the Olympics. The NHL, the Players Association, and the IIHF and the IOC finally struck a deal. So whenever the Milan Cortina 2026 rolls around, which is coming January, it kicks off, the world's best are lacing up for their countries again. Last time we saw this was in Sochi in 2014. So you can imagine there is massive hype behind this, because this means that Team USA for the first time can drop in some of their massive names, and they already have done so in this last 2 days. They've kind of given a little taster for who they're looking to bring in to try and hope that the Team USA can bring their gold to Team USA for the first time in a long while. They drop names like, obviously, as we imagine we would see, Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, Brady and Matthew Tkachuk, Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy. Massive stacked roster that screams just massive speed and skill. Canada have also done the same. They're not holding back either. Some names have been released there, and obviously names we're expecting to see. So we've got Sidney Crosby, with Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Cal Macker, Braden Point. All those ones. We've also got some of those new young emerging stars as well coming in, who are obviously being announced as well. So we have things like Connor Bedard, who's going to have his first time as well to play for Team Canada. Is it Canada? Yes. And Macklin Celebrini as well, who are going to be added into the mix as well. So basically, the bottom line is just a massive hockey. The hockey tournament is going to look so much different this time around. 2026 is going to basically, I think, bring prestige. Not saying it wasn't there, but the last couple of Olympic Games, hockey just hasn't had the same flair, the same interest, shall we say. People just don't seem to be as drawn to it or be as interested. Exactly. This is going to be massive. My question was, obviously at this earlier stage, for both you, we know there's a massive, especially given all the stuff this past season in 2024, 2025, we had that competition that was put in the middle of the NHL season, where you had the 4 nations going up against each other. Team USA, Team Canada boys, it was fierce. We had obviously the issues with the whole singing of the national anthems, the whole political side of things going on. Is there anything at the moment? I mean, if you look at the rosters of potentials that they could both have from this early stage now, I mean, we've still got months away to go, but like Team USA or Team Canada, what are you thinking? Dave, what are you thinking?
It's definitely going to be a more interesting Olympics than we have in a long time, and I really do think it could go, depending on how it turns out through the matches, through the group stage, or however they do it. It's going to be. It's probably going to come down to US Canada final, or at least as they come into the run-in. But I still think Canada is going to edge it. I think they're just too good, in my opinion. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, John, same question.
Sweden or Finland?
Hey, pure
And
Fair
then
underdog
enough.
story again.
4 years, and then 4 years time, GB.
GB, yeah.
Fair enough. I was going to ask us
Carter Hamill with a winning goal.
That's a gold winning goal.
Obviously, just as you'd mentioned as well, this continues again. This is obviously Russia is still on the outs due to the sanctions that are put in place because of obviously the Ukrainian conflict.
Are they out, or will they play as Olympic athletes from Russia?
Probably Olympic athletes from Russia. So again,
So
team Russia.
Obi will go still, most likely.
Will he though is the question, because obviously there was a whole thing last time around. The fact that they didn't use the name and stuff, and would he go? I don't know.
And
Well, he
a lot
went.
of
He
the
went
guys-
anyway, and he paid his fine, didn't he?
That's right. Oh yeah, he did. You're right.
So
he
he paid his NHL fine to Bettman. So
a lot of the younger Russians have a big issue there. Kiprusoff, for example, for the Wild, we've just touched on his fancy contract. He didn't do his military service, national service in Russia. So every time he enters Russia, it's always a nightmare getting him out. So you might see a sort of strained a Russian team, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah. My last piece, I'll move on to it before we move on to period 3. Last piece I have is just around the announcement of the Hockey Hall of Fame class for 2025. Obviously, the Olympics are set to celebrate the game's history this coming year. Yes, Hockey Hall of Fame has been announced. It's class 2025, and it's stacked with names that are really shaped with modern American hockey. Leading the charge is Joe Pavelski. He has a ridiculous resume, over 1,200 NHL games, one of the most consistent goal scorers of his era, and top American-born playoff goal scorer in history. So he is top of the list. Then you've got Scott Gomez, 2-time Stanley Cup champion with the Devils, Calder Cup trophy winner, one of the first Latino players to make a serious impact in the NHL. We have Zach Parise, who joins the Hall, Olympic silver medalist in Vancouver 2010, longtime NHL leader with New Jersey and Minnesota. And someone who basically carried the US flag for generations of young players. And then rounding it off, we have Tara Muncy, who is a pioneer in women's game, who starred in Team USA at the 1998 Olympics and secured historic gold with them. There is also a notable one who's been added to the Hall of Fame this year, and that's a guy called Bruce Bennett. Maybe not a known name to everyone, but he's a legendary photographer. And basically, he has been photographed the NHL for over 40 years, and he's getting an honorable introduction. 50 years, sorry, and he's getting a notable introduction to the class of 2025. So it is a mix of a blend of some class stars, some barrier breakers, and obviously then some key players who need to be added in. Dave, obviously come to you first. Obviously that announcement of Zach Parise being added into the lineup for this year's 2025. I'm sure you're probably excited when you've seen that name.
Yeah, I think it's well deserved. We've been knocking about so long. I think the bit of the travesty there is that his father was never inducted into the NHL Hall of Fame. Wasn't introduced into the Hall of Fame in the 70s, where he probably could have for his work with the North Stars. But yeah, it's well deserved, and it's sort of one of those ones where when he played for the Wild, he had some fantastic years, but he just lingered maybe a little bit too long with us, and sort of tarnished his sort of his legacy a little, because he was playing maybe a bit longer than he probably should have, due to that rubbish contract that I mentioned earlier. So, but I can remember him signing. It was also with Ryan Sutter from the Nashville Preds, and it was like, oh, the Wild are going to do it, and then they did.
Oh, that's me. That's the last of my stories for this period, Dave.
Brilliant. If we've nothing else, we can move on to period 3.
Period 3 is our general Knocky News. Knocky News is where we talk about anything and everything else in the world of hockey that doesn't fit neatly into period 1, period 2, or generally it's just where we talk about jerseys. But there's one other thing to talk about here as well. Guys, this was a story that broke actually just prior to the last podcast, but we decided to just cut it out because we were already over 2 hours. But that is the news that the Nottingham Panthers are linking up with a local company called Neon Raptor and will be launching a Panthers branded beer for this coming season. Neon Panther will be sold in the arena, and I believe it may also be stocked out to other places that Neon Raptor sells out to. They've just shown actually tonight the first cans coming off the production line, and it looks interesting. But would you drink a team branded beer, considering this is the bunch of people who went to Vegas with me on my stag do, and just because it was there, we ended up drinking a beer called Kilt Lifter.
which was a big mistake. It was probably the strongest beer in place.
There's a reason nobody else was drinking it.
Yes. Yeah, branded beer. I drink a branded beer.
I mean, I don't like. Maybe I'm wrong. And someone can correct me if I am wrong. But I don't think this isn't the first time though. There's been a branded beer for an elite league team. Did Coventry not have a branded beer within the Ice Dome?
Oh, yeah, they had something, didn't they?
Didn't they? Maybe I'm wrong. And I think did Glasgow Clan have something? Maybe it was whenever they were Brayhead, but did Glasgow Clan also have something that was branded with their names on it? But it wasn't like a proper brand, like a deal, like a, because this seems more like a branded deal kind of thing that they're doing with like a company. But I don't know. I have a feeling that there was something else. Maybe I should have done some research before coming into this story. But it's something strikes me about whenever we bring Coventry, definitely. That we were drinking in the bar in Coventry in the Sky Dome, and they had something.
They did. I can't remember what it was though.
Blaze related, or it was something dragon related.
Crosby.
Yeah, Crosby's bar. Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
I quite like the cans. I actually have to say.
The cans look really good. If I'd known that there was an image of them, I would have put it up here before we came on, but I didn't see it until we were live here. They do look really
session
cool.
IPA as well.
I would go for it. You know me. I would totally be. That's right up my street. Such an IPA, I would totally be going for.
So we're going to Nottingham then for a beer. Is that what we're saying?
To be honest, I'm gonna say, like, whenever we have gone to Nottingham in the past, for playoffs or whatever, or just the odd game, and during the season, I think it is one of those arenas that the beer choices that they have is a step above some of the other arenas. I genuinely do think that. Like, obviously in the very early, no, let me get there. In the very early days when we were going to playoffs, the options that they were offering were a bit more questionable. There was a few more that was kind of like, do I really want to be drinking this IPA that was like I can't remember what was the name of the big brand in England at the time, which they were selling. And
Green King.
Yeah, Green King, that's it. And I was kind of like, but that last season we were at,
other IPAs are available.
That last playoffs that we were at together. I mean, I think the choices were decent. I thought it was a decent selection.
Sheffield. I have to put Sheffield there because amongst the other places that I've been, some other places might have some nice beer. Belfast, sadly, is not one of them. But Sheffield's inclusion of like little can bars, like just little drinks bars where you can grab a can. The fact that I was able to go really quickly grab a whole friggin' pizza within a couple of minutes after I ordered it, but also I could then go across and go grab a Guinness Zero and have that up in the stands. I could have a pizza, a Guinness Zero, sit and watch the hockey. That's what I want in all 10 places that I go to. Like, now, we all know that people are drinking less. We know that more people are drinking alcohol-free. So why not have the absolute goat? Why not have the absolute goat available and have Guinness Zero everywhere?
I mean, I would be drawn to that whole idea of the Guinness Zero thing. I am one of those people who have moved to alcohol-free for choices and reasons. And the fact that their selection, like in the SSE, is literally one bottle of, I think, Heineken Zero, and it's Oh, great. And I just think it'd be good if it was a bigger selection.
Yeah, Tonks just did what my stomach does when I have Heineken Zero.
I genuinely don't know what's going on with her tonight. She's I don't know. Anyway, as I was kind of saying,
she's obviously bored. She's obviously bored. So do you know what? Let's do what Knocky News is all about, shall we?
Just before,
Oh, sorry.
Just before we move on, you know what I miss? The glass pints in Fife.
Oh, yes.
That was amazing. Amazing. Down the pint in a period break.
The fear of getting in too late to the bar. You had to wait 5 minutes to get it. By that point, there were only about 6 minutes left in the period break. You weren't allowed back to your seat with the pint glass, so you had to hammer it and get back to your seat. If you could see straight and remember where your seat was.
That was that infamous trip where we were over, John, I think was one of the first times we were, I think, ever in Fife for a game. We went to the Fife game and your dad was there with us. And we were down in the pints because there were glass pints that time, and then it just got messy. Yeah.
Well, that's because we ended up in the pub afterwards, and then we ended up drinking whiskey back in the house.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, and your dad's homemade IPA as well.
That's right.
We drank a keg of that.
Rather than take a trip down memory lane, guys, let's do what Period 3 is all about, shall we? And let's have a look at some jerseys. We actually have quite a few jerseys, and actually I've thrown in some other random little curveballs, not jerseys, to look at this time around as well. Guys, since the last podcast, I've kind of put these in order of how they have been announced or released. So the first ones to look at are the Nottingham Panthers. We looked previously at their preseason jerseys, which we all agreed were actually quite nice. That then has come across, they're not similarly designed, but we've got their home, their away, and their alternate jerseys for this season. Dave, I'm going to come to you first. What's your thoughts, and do you have a favourite?
I do quite like them, yeah. There's something, I don't know what way to put it, like comforting. It's that they haven't tried to reinvent the wheel like the Giants have and failed. But the away one particularly calls out to me. I think the inclusion of the black bar really makes their yellow not sort of hurt the eyes. Does that make sense? Framing it in the black, I think looks really well. Yeah, I do. I like the away one.
Okay, Marty, what's your thoughts on Nottingham's 2025-26 jersey selection?
Yeah, there's definitely something very pleasing about them. They're very clean, very simple design. I really like them. I like the bold bars that the kind of going along the bottom. I really do like that. The black one for me is the one I think I like the most out of all of them, the home jersey. Although very closely the alternate jersey is behind that as well with the gold. So yeah, I think generally overall I think they've struck well with all three.
Yeah, and to be honest, I completely agree. I don't know what it is this season. The white jerseys are really singing for me. I like how clean the white jerseys look this season. And the biggest thing on the Panthers jerseys that I still think is an absolute stroke of genius is the slight change to that logo, depending on whether it's a home or an away jersey. That having it as Panthers when they're at home and identifying them as Nottingham when they're away, I just love that. I think that's an absolute stroke of genius. Let's move on from that, guys, and let's come up to Scotland and let's have a look at the Fife Flyers season ticket holder exclusive jersey. So, guys, we're still, and I'm going to qualify this, we're still not looking at the regular season jersey. That's because they've released the sort of mock-up of them, but they haven't released it with sponsors yet. So the only reason I'm putting this one in is this jersey won't have sponsors on it. This is a season ticket holder exclusive jersey. As you see it is how it will be produced and how it will be delivered to fans who buy it. So, Marty, switch things around. Come to you first. Season ticket holder, you've been a Giant season ticket holder. Let's turn that around. Let's say you're a Fife season ticket holder. You've had all the joy and the excitement of the season that's been coming. You're a season ticket holder and you've got the opportunity to buy this jersey in Kirkcaldy. Do you pull the trigger and go for it?
No. No, there's just something that's it's just a bit too in your face, and I love Flyers jerseys normally. I'm a big fan of Flyers jerseys. We've sung their praises on a number of occasions, but on this occasion for this jersey, it's just not my cup of tea. It's just not something that I would be interested in purchasing. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just the big massive solitaire across the chest. Solitaire across the chest. It's a Northern Irish to me, okay. I don't know if it's that. I don't know. It's just not for me. And I'm interested to see, like, on the Vegas jersey, Golden Vegas Knights jerseys, the gold parts on the Vegas jersey. I think mine's over there somewhere. It's kind of like shiny, kind of like a gold type thing.
Yeah.
Are they doing that with this, or is it just a design?
I don't think so. So I'm going to show you something in a second, which I think will give you an idea of what that might actually look like in real life. But I don't think it's shiny. I'm not 100%, so don't hold me to it if this does come out and it's shiny, reflective, and it's used as a tactic to shine lights onto these jerseys in the stands and blind the opposition as they come up the ice. Dave, your thoughts on this one quickly before we move on?
No, I do. I like them. I don't like we've talked about this, they're E-wing def, but that's just a personal thing. I really do like the Solitaire. It rings back to the old legacy Caps jersey when they did one per season that was had the Solitaire on it, which was amazing. I do like it. If I was a Fife fan, I would be buying one tomorrow.
Okay. I'll be honest, it's not my favourite. Marty, I think I'm kind of with you. I don't mind the Solitaire, but it's very, very different. And I know that a lot of people will like that, but I would very much like them to sort of pull an identity from these jerseys this season, and this one just doesn't do it for me. It's not the only thing out of Fife, though. So, this is their pre-season jersey. It was not officially announced. They kind of caught themselves out by putting photos of the players out on an open training and scrimmage session with the Kirkcaldy Kestrels, and this is what the guys were wearing. So it's out in the ether now, and this is what the Flyers will wear this weekend coming in their pre-season game. Marty, I believe that gold that we were looking at on the previous jersey, if you look at the barring on the bottom of the jersey and around the arms, I think that's what you're going to see on that Solitaire jersey. So I think it's a screen printed pattern in a sort of mottled gold. Marty, your thoughts on this one? I saw your face. I think I knew very quickly what your thoughts are.
Yeah. I think my face said it all.
The last one, if that's what it's going to look like.
I just don't like that at all. I just that stripe of weird mottled thing just looks awful.
Looks like faded snakeskin or something.
If I get to see them in person, I'll try and take a more close-up photo of it. But yeah, I get it. I'm still more excited to see what the regular season jerseys are going to look like. So I think it's fair to say that probably not our favourites. But let's move on to something else. And I know this is very Kirkcaldy heavy, but one more thing, as Tim Cook would say. This gear that is coming from their new merchandise supplier, I've forgotten who, GB Sports
GB
merchandise,
Sports, yeah.
GB Sports. Some of this stuff is absolutely outstanding. Now, I want to clarify one point on this though. The jacket is not available for general sale. That will be worn by the volunteers and the team staff this year. So that's a team bit of gear. The hat, though, will be available for sale, and I am already saving up my pennies in my pocket money account so that the first time I go down, I can get that. Everyone knows I like a hat. I absolutely love that. If that jacket would be done in Giants colours with that sort of styling, I would buy that in a heartbeat. And I know that the vast majority of Fife fans, when that was shown, they all want it. And it's always been the same. In Belfast, we look at the merchandise and we look at the stuff that the team are given, and then we look at what we can buy. It's night and day.
Yep.
So hopefully that's not the way it goes. Now, Fife have also put out their sockies, I believe, and shirts and polos and stuff. And okay, Dave, right?
Anthony, those people think it's great.
We like it. I know what it's trying to do.
We didn't say we
like
think it. Let's just clarify. We didn't say we think it's great. But I like it for what it is and what it's supposed to be. And that's
It looks
kind of.
Yep.
And something that I found out in work, and the reason I don't like it is it's the Microsoft Fabrics loading screen is exactly the same. So it reminds me of work.
Well, anyway, any other comments on this before I move it on? And you rain on my parade a bit more about how nice
No, I do.
stuff is. This
I
year.
do really do like them, and I like the fact that they're going with the full proper, stitched, embroidered on the caps, and I love the fact.
Well,
that
go
they're
back
making
as
a proper...
well on the jersey. That looks stitched to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well,
so
it looks like the way they've done the Giants ones, where it's the stitched logo on the supplemented jersey.
Could be, but I think those wings look raised. I'm just saying. It looks like it's pulling the jersey around the chest protector. But look, I'll wait and see when I see them in person. Guys, let's move on. Let's move to another team. The Glasgow Clan released a whole host of jerseys in the last couple of days. These are the first two. I will show the other ones that they released as well, but this is their home and their away. So on their home jersey, they've stuck with the Clan purple. They've got a background thistle pattern, apparently, which hasn't been too apparent when I've looked at the images. On the white one, they've kind of switched it round a little bit. They still have the Clan tartan, but they've gone with what they've called an NHL block style of jersey, with the bold bars going across the bottom of the jersey and the bottom of the arms. Thoughts on these guys?
Can we see the other two as well at the same time, just so we can kind of get a picture of them all?
Okay, yep. I'll show you. I'll show you the rest then. So, their alternate jersey is obviously a darker. It's a gradient, as they've called it. It goes from black down to grey, and then has the city map of what I assume is Renfrew, not Glasgow, because they're not a Glasgow team. So
it's far too many
maybe
roads for that to be Renfrew.
Exactly. Well, then do you know what they're doing? They're lying.
Lying.
They're liars. And then they've got their warm-up jersey. So the mainly purple one is the home warm-up jersey, and the mainly white is the away warm-up jersey. I'll kind of go first and give my thoughts on the warm-up jerseys for a start. The alternate jerseys trash. The warm-up jerseys I don't like, because I think the grey bars just get in the way. They're either too bold over the white, or they just get lost in the purple. The thistle is, again, it's a lost detail. I just don't like it. The home and away ones, if I could go back, they're okay, but the sponsors are too big on them, and they break the lines, and it's really, really annoying. Visually, I just don't like the look of either of these.
I want to know why the bands on the arms are on the forearms and not the elbow. Do you know normally they would have the bands? Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. You'd have them with the number that's on the arm. You'd have your band around that. The away one, sorry, out of all of them is probably the one I like the most. But yeah, I'd have to agree. The use of the thistle is a fantastic idea, but every implementation means it's been lost. Sort of been lost on the jersey.
What is it? What is it with the Clan's obsession with the thistle this year? Because, like, I think there wasn't preseason game jerseys, their preseason tournament jerseys.
Tournament jerseys and their Warrior tournament jerseys, which they'll wear this weekend.
They all have thistles. Yeah, they're
obviously trying to pull on the national identity thing, but they have to remember that they're one of 3 Scottish teams in the Elite League.
They're really doubling down on it. I agree with Dave. I think the road jersey, the away jersey, definitely is the best one of them all. And to be honest with you, seeing the stuff that Clan have put out in recent years, especially the last 2 seasons or so, there's been some questionable decisions around some of the designs that they've made. And actually, I think these ones actually are okay. And I know you don't like the alternate jersey, but there's something about the alternate jersey. I like the black, and I like the fact that the logo and stuff is white, and I like the contrasting of that. And I know you don't like the city map thing because it's Glasgow. Not Renfrew, whatever, but there's just something there's a little thing in me that I like it, and I know teams sometimes overdo it, but I do like it when a team kind of maybe incorporates the the city and the proudness of being part of the city. And there's something about it, like, if the Giants came up with a similar jersey that had the roadmap of Belfast in the background. No, not in the roadmap of Belfast.
They did the skyline. They did the skyline jersey.
Is that a roadmap of
You hated
Belfast?
it.
No, I didn't.
You hated the skyline jersey.
No, they did a skyline jersey. That wasn't the Belfast. They didn't have a Belfast skyline jersey.
Yes, it was.
Wasn't that the?
I'm pretty sure it was a thank you jersey.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have it.
The thank you jersey,
but it wasn't
it was the thank you jersey that I didn't like because it didn't have the Belfast Giants logo on anywhere on the thank you jersey. That's why I didn't like it. But the fact that if they had had that thank you jersey,
they stuck Ben on that jersey with all the buildings that looked really stupid. You say you would have liked that jersey.
If they had the Belfast logo, I said this back whenever we were doing that jersey. If they had the Belfast logo and the Belfast actual identification on it, then I would like the jersey more. I always said this. Todd Kelman, during the Todd Kelman era, there was a jersey that was used in a promotional video only, and they never produced it anywhere. It had Belfast skyline on it, it had the Harland and Wolf cranes, it had all the stuff on it, and I wanted that jersey because I was like, I'm proud to be from Belfast, and I love Belfast, and I wanted that jersey, and they never did it. This kind of thing here, where they have
that jersey. If you're watching or listening and you have that jersey, if you have access to that jersey, please get in contact with us. We want to know where it is.
Anyway, I like the alternate jersey. I do like the alternate jersey because I like the map thing, and I like the kind of the proud nature of the identification of the city, and other people will like that too.
It'll sell. Okay. Like, it'll definitely sell.
Yeah, most likely it will. I don't know. I just don't like the city map jerseys. I feel like too many places are doing it now. It's a done thing. It's a finished trope. I don't know. Guys, this is an orange block.
Why?
Because today I officially broke the news on our X channel that the Sheffield Steelers are doing their jersey reveal tomorrow, and they gave us this exclusive. There will be orange in
it. Brilliant.
Honestly, go and have a look at RX, and we broke this. We were the people who provided this information, this vital information for the people, that the Sheffield Steelers will have orange in their jersey. It's not the only thing. It's not the only thing they revealed today, though. They did reveal some other merch as well. It is safe to say that this has not gone down very well with the fans. The fans are complaining that their merchandise is the worst in the league, the designs are terrible, and that things are too expensive. That adult hoodie, those adult hoodies, 50 quid. That design work at that price, head and shoulders above anything we've got in Belfast.
Yeah.
So I'm really sorry, Steelers fans. This might be the worst that you've had in a while, but I'm really sorry. Like, you've still got much better stuff than we've got in Belfast.
Don't come for that crown.
No. And separately as well, guys, everyone knows that I like a hat, I like a lid, and these are some of the new lids.
Oh.
They all look pretty similar.
I like the first one.
To what they're. Yeah, they're quite nice. And again, Sheffield fans, how you can look at this arrangement of stuff and say that you're really hard done by, I'm really sorry. You're really, really not. Like, some of your stuff is actually really quite nice. Sheffield's jersey reveal, jersey event, along with the what's the EIHL team called again? Steel Dogs. Is tomorrow. Both teams will be doing their jersey reveal, their fan meet and greet and everything tomorrow, so that's going to be Friday. So stay tuned on our TikTok. I will do a jersey video as soon as that drops tomorrow, and I'll give my initial thoughts on it. But guys, any more thoughts on Sheffield? Nope. Are you absolutely shocked that it'll be orange?
It took me by surprise.
Yeah.
Sure,
you're going to be blown away whenever there isn't an orange jersey and just going to look like a fool.
I know. They've completely bamboozled me here. They've had me. They've played me for a fool. Guys, there are a few more bits and pieces to go through. This was one that we had raised by Anthony last time. We didn't have a chance to throw it up last time. This is the Romford Raiders. So they have released their... Now, I'm going to get this right this time. So with EIHL, it's not as cut and dry as home and away. So half the season, they will play in the lighter jersey at home. Half the season, they will play in the darker jersey. The jersey at the end is really interesting, though. that is going to be their warm-up jersey for this season coming. Now, they had a competition to design the warm-up jersey, but the group that was brought together to look at all these designs and select the winner couldn't decide. So what they've actually done is taken 23 different designs and put them onto one stunning warm-up jersey, which is also supporting the Team Daniel charity as well. Guys, thoughts on Romford?
I think they're really nice jerseys, nice classic design lines, and then that warm-up jersey. I love a thing like that. I think it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, no, I
Marnie?
think it's lovely. I think it's nice. It's nice contrasting colors and stuff. The only thing is is it just me, or are the shoulders a different shade from the rest of the jersey on both those ones?
Maybe it's
So-
just the way that they're shown.
Okay, because I was about to say the definitely on the darker one with the yellow band in the middle, the shoulder yellow looks lighter than the deeper yellow on the band.
I didn't actually notice that. There you go.
It's just it kind of, and then on the blue, actually on the other one, on the whiter jersey, the blue navy shoulders look lighter again than the band in the middle.
I wonder if it's them trying to make it look like there's a light shining on it or something.
I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, I like them anyway, no matter what.
So, guys, just to clarify as well about Team Daniel, what it is. So, Team Daniel was set up in 2017 after Daniel's family set up the charity after their 15-year-old brother, grandson, nephew, and friend was taken unexpectedly when he took his own life in 2017 through stress in his life. They now raise funds for two organisations, Leeds General Infirmary and Martin House Children's Hospice, in Daniel's memory. So a fantastic reason to get involved there, and some proceeds, I believe, some charity events and things will be set up. They also, as it turns out, didn't realise, have a partnership with the Leeds Knights as well. So great thing to get behind there.
Is the warm up, the Team Daniel warm up jersey, is it available on general sale?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
Guys, another one. Thanks to Anthony for sharing this one through. This is the Invicta Dynamos. So again, getting this right this time. Half the season in light at home, half the season in dark at home, and I believe the top right jersey, the blacked out jersey, is their warm up jersey. These look nice.
These are beautiful. All three are stunning. I love that black one. Looks so good. I don't know what. It's just oh my god, it's stunning. They're genuinely lovely.
See what happens when you keep your sponsors to the arms. See what that does to the jersey. It's incredible. That white jersey just says Invicta Dynamos, but it looks better than 90% of Elite League jerseys.
Yeah, I would love to be a team in the Elite League to be in a position that they didn't have to have a sponsor on the front. It would be phenomenal.
Now, Anthony does caveat this by saying Invicta are Division 1 South, so he's not sure their jersey rules, so there might be a reason why they don't have jersey front sponsors, but it doesn't matter. That they're so clean, they're so nice, they are outstanding.
Beautiful.
The black one's phenomenal, so this.
Yep. A couple more things to go through, guys. Seattle Kraken today have just released these glow-in-the-dark jerseys. Let me say that again. Glow-in-the-dark. They will actually wear these for a number of games. I think it's during October and November, home games. They're going to wear glow-in-the-dark jerseys. I'm going to say it one more time. They glow in the dark. They're also 100% recycled. Through the climate pledge that this team has. Just absolutely nuts. How nice are those?
Game. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that's class.
That's awesome.
Any other thoughts then? Those are just awesome.
I mean, as a gimmick, I think it's fantastic. I think it's brilliant. But also, yeah, a part of the whole climate pledge thing that they're into, especially with the arena and stuff. So it's no surprising that the way they went down with these jerseys, making sure that they're 100% recyclable materials and all that type of stuff. But yeah, no, I think it's great. gimmicky, but works.
I just think they should do it. See, the idea of it, it is gimmicky, but I think they should lean into it. You know, the end of the day, they're Krakens. They're meant to be creepy. So
Yeah, exactly. Guys, one last one to go into, and we also had the Carolina Hurricanes throw out their away jersey or their white jersey for the coming season. I think the biggest thing they've done is they've kind of done a color switch on the main crest. They've thrown on a vintage Stormy patch on the left shoulder of the jersey as well. Or sorry, in the right shoulder, which I read a piece where they talked about they looked at the design of other jerseys and other shoulder patches around the league and saw a complete lack of originality in the design. They've thrown that up. The reaction has been absolutely amazing. And then they've also got the state flag on the left shoulder as well. Any thoughts on these?
I'm just thinking, how long is it going to be before we see Gritty on the shoulders of Philadelphia?
I like them, but I always did rather the storm flags over the.
That's still there.
Hurricane.
That's still there. They still have that as an alt.
Cool. Okay.
Still have it. Guys, just quickly, we've had a little bit of confirmation on, sorry, not the Romford one, on Invicta from Anthony. White is home, blue is away, and black is third. And if you're interested, 55 quid for kids, 65 quid for adults. So we know where some of our pocket money is going, and might well be for some others as well. Guys, that's it for jerseys this time around. We will have a few more to talk about when we come back, because we'll have had the last of the Elite League jerseys will be revealed. We're still waiting on a few. I think we're still waiting on Coventry. I think we're waiting on an official drop from Guildford. Sheffield will also get
Manchester?
Manchester. Yeah, Manchester as well.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on an official drop. So once we get those, we'll be able to throw those into the next podcast. But keep your eyes on TikTok, because I will, of course, put a video up on those jerseys as soon as they drop.
Great. Thank you so much, John. And actually, for the first time this season and for a while, we do have an overtime segment. So let's get stuck into our overtime. Okay, overtime is just our last little part of the episode in which we talk about anything else that needs to be covered, just from stories or questions that come in from you guys who are watching or listening or send it in on our social media accounts. But more importantly, in this section, in this episode, we are talking about our predictions for the 2025-2026 Elite League season. As always, our predictions work as follows. Each of us will go around and make a choice for who we believe will be take away the title for Elite League champions, who will take away the Challenge Cup this coming season, and lastly, who will win the playoff championship. Now, I know it's very early on, because obviously, as John said earlier on, it's not going to be until March, until all is decided, April time. But we always do it at the start of the season to see, when it comes to the end of the season, who was closest to that. I think last year I got it right for, did I get it right last season for playoffs? I did definitely got it right for playoffs. I remember that, because I bragged about that. The one stipulation is as follows. We are all Belfast Giants fans, so we believe the Belfast Giants will win everything. We always do. We always like to believe and hope that the Belfast Giants will walk away with the whole shebang of trophies. But because we are Belfast Giants fans, the one caveat we have is, if the Belfast Giants can't win it or not able to win it, who do we believe is the other team in the Elite League who will win that trophy? So without further ado, let's start off. Dave, we're going to start with you first. The league title. If Belfast Giants can't win the league title for whatever reasons, who do you have taking the Elite League title this coming year?
In my opinion, the team I can't look past for the title is Nottingham. I think that they have improved so much from last year, and they were, at the end of last year, they were phenomenal. I think that they have all the right pieces lined up to be a very stable team throughout the year, given the net minding they've recruited and how their team is shaped up over the off season. So I do think that they will push to get that league title, and I think that they're, in my opinion, are probably one of the favourites for it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to jump in there because you mentioned Nottingham, and I'm going to jump in and say I agree with you, exactly the same statement and the same sentiment. I think Nottingham are coming off very massive momentum after the previous season, showcasing the resilience and the depth throughout the postseason. Obviously winning the playoff championship in 2025, and I think this season they're going full in to try and see about taking that further. And I think that they are doing that with the recruitment they've done so far in the off season. And as you said, bringing back key goalie for this year, I think is a massive step in making that move forward. Brandeis, I think so too. So I agree with you. I'm going to go with Nottingham. John, you?
Sheffield. I think the undressing that they've given Cardiff means that I think teams need to be worried about them. I wasn't sure until those preseason games about what Aaron Fox had done with his recruitment for this year, given that they've lost a number of key personnel. I genuinely think they're a force, and if it wasn't Belfast, I think it might be Sheffield.
Okay, perfect. We will get Aaron's predictions for all of these, and we'll add them in, and we'll stick a little graphic up somewhere on our social media in the coming days. So we will include that. Let's move on to the next one, which is the Challenge Cup I've got on my list. I'm going to start us off first, and then I'm going to go John and then Dave. So starting off with the Challenge Cup, I'm going to go a bit out there this year. Although last year they didn't have they had a struggle last season. The Cardiff Devils are my take for the Challenge Cup for the 2025-2026. Despite their loss in the Challenge Cup final last year, obviously against the Belfast Giants, which was a dominant performance from the Belfast Giants, 4-0 win, with Whistle having such an amazing game. I think they have a strong overall performance, and they also, obviously with a new leader there, trying to maybe set his mark on the Cardiff Devils in his first season. I think the Challenge Cup is maybe the way he goes with it. I think it's probably maybe his first step in trying to maybe just kind of secure some silverware in his early stages of Cardiff. John?
This is where I think the Panthers have the edge on this one. They are obviously going to participate in the Conti Cup as well. And I think if they use the initial stages, as awful as with the cup competition the way it is, if they use that as like preparation, because we know they're getting straight through to the grand final, it's going to be hosted in Nottingham. If they use that the right way round, if they get through to that semi-final stage, I could see them breezing through that. They've got Grande in nets. Let's just not forget that. They've also, Dave, you already mentioned, they have massively improved on through, but I still, obviously I've made my choice for the league. I think those short competitions, given that it takes 17 months somehow for the Challenge Cup to be figured out, I think the Panthers have it in them to take the Challenge Cup, if it's not the Giants.
Yep. Dave?
So I'm gonna go for I'm gonna go for a long shot this year.
Manchester.
No, I'm gonna say Fife. I think with the way they've recruited and the optimism in that room, that as you said, a short form competition gives them the opportunity. If they can push and get second in the group, then they're sitting a bit in a better position than they could be elsewhere. I think that it's going to be an uphill battle. Don't get me wrong, but I think that they have the pieces to be a team that will challenge in the same way as they did 4 seasons ago, where they took it pretty far. I think they could do the same, and I think it's long overdue that we see a new team lift a bit of silverware.
I think that is the first time in 10 years of doing this podcast that anyone other than me has picked the Flyers for winning a competition.
There you go. I'm normally right as well, so you.
Oh well, we'll come back to that because I've got the predictions from last year, so we'll come back to that.
Let's look at the last trophy that's up for grabs in the Elite League, and that is the playoff trophy, which is the last trophy to be decided right at the very end of the season. Let's start off. Dave, let's start off with you. I know you were just the last to decide, but let's start with you. Your prediction for the Elite League playoffs, again, if Belfast aren't winning it.
Yeah, so I couldn't go through this without mentioning the Steelers. They will never not be a formidable opponent in this league. Aaron Fox needs a trophy. If he comes away with another year without a trophy, his writing's on the wall. I think they have a very strong team, recruited again very well. And as you said, that match against Cardiff, it's going to be one to watch. But I think when it comes to the playoffs, especially if, in my predictions of not winning the league and not winning the Challenge Cup, they will throw everything at the playoffs, and I think that they'll still clinch it.
Yeah, John.
I'm going to go slightly left field on playoffs. I don't know how left field it is. Coventry. I genuinely think Danny Stewart is due something. Coventry are and always have been a playoff team if they can get there. And it would be nice to see something like the playoffs go to somewhere outside of the top four. Mm-hmm. I think the last time we had that opportunity was, I think, the first playoffs I went to with you guys where Fife were there. And let's be honest, nobody really expected them to do anything in the Final Four. But when you get a team like Coventry there, and I feel really bad saying that they're not in the top four, but let's be totally honest, they're not in the top four. They're squarely middle table at this point. But I think if they can stick top 8, if they can get a decent draw in the quarterfinals, then I reckon if they can get to playoff final weekend, I think the Coventry Blaze, again, caveat that, if it's not the Giants, it's Coventry Blaze.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I can't believe I'm actually going to say that I'm going to give Nottingham my a double win this year. I genuinely think, coming off the past season, 2025 playoff champions, ability to perform under pressure, I think I would give them playoff success again. And I hate to say it because obviously I always hate it whenever it's, because I hate having to admit that, but yeah, double win this year, I think, for the Nottingham Panthers. I just think, coming back to what you were saying, Dave, just I know you were saying that you couldn't look past the Steelers for something. I just think the Steelers, they need to do something this year, and they need to prove something. Obviously, I think Aaron Fox needs that. I think this year, but I think this is going to be a year where they're going to miss out again. So yeah, we'll wait and see. And as I mentioned, we'll get Aaron's predictions as well, and we'll throw those together so we get them all.
Can I correct a mistake that I made because it's been pointed out? You can't say Coventry Blaze without automatically trying to say Danny Stewart. Of course, Danny Stewart is with the Panthers now. I meant Kevin Moore. Sorry.
Sure you did.
Yeah, sure you did. Yeah.
It's completely automatic.
Danny
Stewart. Like this one. It's like nobody talking about the clan treble.
He's right. He's right. Nobody is talking.
Nobody is talking.
No. Although I will say I am pretty impressed with their goaltending this year. The caliber of their goaltending this year looks pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie, but can't just go on goaltending alone.
Talk about goaltending. Let's answer this question, because if we don't answer Lulu's question, she might actually have a stroke here, because she's asked it about 6 times, and she's also asked it of me on TikTok on live a few times. Who will be the best netminder this season? Now, I'm gonna answer this myself. I am going to say it'll either be Gravel, because we've had our pronunciation corrected. There,
I think we're gonna need to kind of get a confirmation. I know Anthony, you're saying Gravel, and there's another pronunciation of Gravel, but I seen a video recently where it sounded like Alexis himself kind of said, actually it's gravel, but it's pronounced Gravel, but people pronounce it Gravel, and he doesn't correct it. So something somewhere that I seen that, especially when I was doing research on the upcoming video that I'm doing, there was a video that kind of mentioned his surname, and it was a bit of he doesn't care if it's either or. I think is what the interview said. But anyway, we'll come back to that. But it doesn't matter.
My other one, I can't look past him because that performance in the second half of last season was just completely lights out. Jason Grande in Nottingham. If he has a full season the way that he had half a season last year, every single team should be afraid of going and playing Nottingham. Yeah. So that's my two.
Yeah, my two. I mean, as I mentioned already, Glasgow have signed Sami Adekelio, and he looks impressive. I'm not going to lie, he looks very impressive. My only concern is that you have a goaltender who's a high quality goaltender who then is, and this is no offense to the Glasgow Clan, you're bringing a high caliber goalie and maybe not so high caliber rest of your team. And I think, so I don't know. From on paper and from statistics and from looking at his information from previous seasons, he looks impressive. And I would definitely say he's one to look at.
You say that about Glasgow. They've gone to Germany for this preseason tournament. 5D. Dave, netminder.
It's hard to tell at this stage because obviously we haven't seen them all play. We've had an awful lot of movements there. But based on the end of last season and the bit of Gravel and Whistle, I do think that you're looking at, similar to yourself, John, it's going to be Grande or Gravel. But we won't know until we start seeing how they stack up game on game. There's been some big names recruited all season. Ask me the question in 6 months and I'll maybe give you a different answer.
Very quickly before we end overtime, Marty, you talked about last year's predictions, and I knew it was one of the first TikToks I did when I started that channel last year. So do you want to know what we predicted last year?
Yep, go for it.
Right, very quickly, for the league, Marty, Dave, John all went for the Steelers. We all got it wrong.
To be fair,
because we're not allowed to pick the eventual winner. Aaron went for the Devils. And like, he had a good start. Don't get me wrong.
In this case, we should be looking at who came second in the league or who came second. We should probably be doing it that way. And again, when it comes to Challenge Cup,
we all won.
So and then again, we should be thinking about in the Challenge Cup who was in the final against the Belfast Giants, because obviously the Belfast Giants won it. So who was in the final for that? So that's what we should be looking at.
Okay. Well, Challenge Cup. Marty, you went for the Devils. Dave, you went for the Flames. I went for the Flyers. And Aaron, God love him, went for the Clan. And when it comes to playoffs, Marty, you're 100% right. You selected correctly. You went for the Panthers. You weren't the only one though. I also went for the Panthers. Dave, you went for the Devils, and Aaron went for the Steelers. So there you go. Marty, you and me have something to play for here. Where let's call it, we notched 1 point. Dave, Aaron, bring it on. Let's see if you can catch us this year.
Now you need to go back to all the other seasons, the 10 seasons we've done this podcast, and see what our predictions were for the last 10 seasons to try and work out who's actually more accurate.
If someone has no social life and wants to go back through all of our old episodes, feel free. You're looking at roughly April, September time podcast for the last 10 years, so best of luck to you.
Fine, I'll go do it. Fine. All right, with that, we are going to end this episode. We said it was going to be a bit of a quicker episode, but actually, no, it's a 2-hour episode again, but hey, who cares? Thank you so much for anybody who has stuck with us and watched us live and listened to us as we go along. Thank you very much for that.
Just before somebody...
Yes, Lulu, yes, he's also a netminder. He will probably do quite well, but we didn't pick him, okay? We didn't pick him.
Yeah.
Second best is always first loser, so...
So with that, we will be signing off for this week. As usual, when we sign off our episodes, we just direct you towards our socials. So we're on all the social media channels, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok at Door14 Hockey. So do get involved. Check out all of John's lives on TikTok and all the other content that we put out there, which is great stuff. So please do get involved and send us some questions.
Follow Marty on TikTok so that he can join me on lives.
Yeah, that needs to work out somehow. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you're watching us live or you decide you want to watch us back live, you can go to our YouTube channel at Door14 Hockey, and don't forget to subscribe, which is down here somewhere. Hit the little bell button and you'll get notifications of new videos. And plugging that, we have 2 videos up there already. We've got two list videos. We have our Elite League, 10 things to know about the Elite League and 10 things to know about the CHL this coming week. On Monday, 7 o'clock, we'll be releasing our next one, which is the Challenge Cup. And we have a few others coming in the future as well. So I won't give any of those away. John.
I'll plug my stuff. So on TikTok, I've done the how the Challenge Cup works because it's still technically the first competition that gets started. A few weeks later, we'll get the league going, and I will do an explainer on how the league works. It'll be very short because it's very simple. And then down the line, probably not straight away, we'll do one on the playoffs and how that works through the regular season and how the seeding works and all the rest of it.
Great. So yes, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all that good old stuff. It helps with the algorithm and gets our videos and stuff pushed out. And lastly, as always, this is a podcast and has always been a podcast and will continue to be a podcast, audio version. So you can get this on all of your podcast provider of choice, wherever that might be. Each person each to their own, whatever they choose, whatever you choose. And don't forget, whatever that podcast provider of choice is, don't forget to hit the subscribe, likes, comments, reviews, whatever it is on there. Give us a wee review, 5 stars, please, thank you. That helps us kind of push us out to others to listen to for the first time. So we thank you very much for all of that. Boys, have we missed anything? Oh, plug in the website. Forgot to plug a website. We do have our website, door14hockey.com. This episode and all the other episodes are all up there as well in one convenient, handy place. If you do want to go and check that out, please do so. And with that, we will sign off for this week. I'm Marty.
Dave.
I'm John.
Have a great week.